Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to VTM Coteries of New York. And in the last episode, we were able to secure a gangrel to our merry band of misfits, guys. But we also started to do a series of missions for a Nosferatu information broker named Kaiser. Sophie had asked us to deliver a pen drive to him, and apparently the pen drive was not up to snuff. And Sophie told us that he was all about etiquette, so we asked him if there was anything we could do to kind of even the score to settle up. And we went to a winery and secured a bottle of dark red liquid. I guess what that is. But now we're here at Willets Point, and I'm very curious to see where the story's going to go from here. So you had to push the speed limit to make it on time, but you're here. Willets Point is quite a change of scenery. The place is a post-industrial dump, the nearby stadium notwithstanding. You know, I will bet you money that the pen drive actually did give Kaiser what he wanted. He's just using us to get some errands done. You stop your car once you realize that if you go any further down, the potholes are going to kill your chassis. You step out into one of those gashes in the asphalt, splashing the ankle-deep water. Kaiser's limo is nowhere to be seen. In fact, the whole place is pretty much deserted, other than the apparent proprietor of a lonely bar, a middle-aged woman, who's just locking the place up. Well, we have not fed in a while. Should we go ahead and feed? Pretty much deserted. Let's go for it. This is too perfect of an opportunity to not take advantage of. She's walking to her car, ready to call it a night, when you sneak up on her. She's far too tired to resist your strong hold and swift bite. You can taste the caffeine in her veins, smell the cheap cigarettes in her hair, the old cooking grease in her clothes. Ugh. She passes out. You assault the closing note of a long day of work. You let her down gently, and feel a pang of remorse. You pick up the car key she dropped and place her in the driver's seat. She'll find an explanation for passing out like this, for sure. The bright lights of a car pulling up down the road illuminate you as you close the door. It's a black limo. Kaiser is finally here, it would seem. Same as last time, the car door opens, but nobody comes out. You know the drill. This time, Kaiser is visible for the first time you look inside. You sit down and close the door behind you.
So, you pulled it off without a hitch then. Give it here.
You hand the bottle over to the Nosferatu. He uncorks it gently, takes a whiff, and puts the cork back in.
Yeah, that's the stuff. Good job, kid. Consider your debt paid. Oh yeah, and also have this. It's what Langley wanted.
He passes you an envelope with what feels like a thick card inside. Thank you, Mr. Kaiser.
Yeah. I'll send Jackie over if I ever need anything else from you. How about that? Time for you to get out. Now.
He waves you out of the car. With the envelope in hand, you get out back onto the torn asphalt and decrepit surroundings. The limo slowly drives away. Finally, you can return to Sophie and bring her what you wanted. Gregory lets you in. You hear a shrill, unpleasant laugh, and you realize Sophie's having a guest over. He's the man from the Elysium, the one with the glasses and good taste in suits. You haven't had a chance to talk to him last you saw him. Xavier, so glad to see you. Tell me, the two of you meet before? The man doesn't wait for you to answer. He approaches you with an energetic, almost dance-like step and puts his hand out. Thomas Arturo, I heard about you. Pleasure. Thomas is a great source of gossip and an excellent conversationalist. I also have the prince's ear, which is the primary reason dear Miss Langley wished to speak to me tonight. Good gossip, even coming from me, isn't nearly as valued. Sad. Sophie's taken aback by the man's direct comment, but smiles politely. The awkward atmosphere is broken again by the guest's grating laugh. I joke, of course, I joke. Well, I was about to leave anyway, so I'll leave you two to it. Good night, Sophie. Xavier? Greggy boy? Sophie's driver opens the door for Arturo, and the guest steps out with a single wave of the hand toward his host and you, and the doors close. So, what's his deal? Same as everyone's. Position, power, influence. Thomas has clout in court, and access to many juicy details on everyone from the prince to the lowliest primogen. It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricity requires some patience. Speaking of patience, you've been putting mine to the test lately. Did you manage to contact Kaiser and acquire what I asked for? I wonder if Sophie would like to know about what we did. Let's go ahead and tell her. Yes, I haven't. But the data you offered was old news to him. I had to do another job for him before he gave me this card. She retrieves the envelope from you. Oh, I'm sure he did. I do hope it wasn't too much of an inconvenience. He made me go on an entire separate escapade to retrieve a bottle of wine from a store in Nolita. I had to use code phrases and whatnot. Wine shop. Code phrases. That degenerate pest. She's visibly agitated, but calms down and smiles at you. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had you do, it'll blow over. She opens the envelope and looks at the card. You notice the same lettering you saw in Kaiser's note from before, but can't see the details. Her eyes widen. Yes, excellent. I need to call on some favors. I'll likely be busy for the next few nights. You have my permission to show some initiative, my dear charge. I will contact you soon. With that, Sophie ushers you outside. Sophie ushers you outside. You are left to do with the rest of this night's hours as you like. That was weird. Okay. Well, we definitely need to rest. What is that? Somebody's watching me part 1. Oh. Alright. We'll rest first. Whoa. There's a sleazy reporter from a gossip magazine sniffing around Sophie's haven. She could use your help with the problem. And Benoit's back too. That's cool. Alright. Well, she did say the next few nights. Maybe we can do some of these side quests before we go talk to Agathon. Or should we go talk to Agathon first? You know, I would like to get one more member of the coterie taken care of, because we only just got one more to talk to. Let's put it up to the dice again. Odds, these guys. Evens, Agathon. 2. Agathon it is. Sophie's mention of a vampire clan of blood sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Agathon, could potentially be your introduction to the bizarre powers of the Tremere. Well, the thing about it is, I wonder if the story is going to... No, we gotta do the secondary stuff for them as well. We're fine. Hopefully. You arrive at the address given to you by Sophie. A small bookstore smack dab in the middle of Broadway, of all places. What really catches you off guard, though, is the store's display. From what you've heard about the Tremere, they are infamous for their ties to the occult and the mystical. And yet now, looking at the oddball collection of items in the display window, it all feels borderline satirical. The books here cover everything from Ayurvedic practices and homeopathy to wellness and self-motivation. The vaguely amusing juxtapositions don't end there either. You notice a copy of Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible tucked behind a cheap smiling Buddha. A scientific journal on hematology sits next to a teen-oriented pamphlet on the blood-type personality theory. A number of religious and quasi-religious symbols, lockets, pins, and various emblazoned paraphernalia are haphazardly strung across the display and between the tomes. This actually fits perfectly for a Tremere. Hide in plain sight among something that most people would assume you have nothing to do with. Before you even open the door, you can smell the burning incense and hear the corny Far East-tinged music seeping through the crackling speaker mounted above the entrance. It's much more quaint than what you expected from what Sophie told you about the so-called warlocks. It doesn't look like they have much interest in impressing outsiders. Then again, if there's anything you've learned these past few nights, it's that appearances can be deceiving. At this time of night, the shop appears to be closed. Regardless, you ring the bell. You hear someone shuffling around inside. A brief moment later, the latch slides and the door is pushed open just a few inches. A tired-looking blonde in loose clothes appears in the crack. She seems confused, like you just woke her up. She lets out a yawn and scratches at her tattooed neck. Finally, she squints in your general direction, and her pierced lip curves into an awkward smile. I'm looking for a guy named Agathon. Is he around? The girl gives you a suspicious look over, but opens the door. She takes a few steps back, and you hear footsteps coming from behind a floral curtain that covers the back door. A bespectacled, smart-looking woman emerges and looks straight at you. Come in and follow me. Just don't touch anything, please. You follow her through the store. Inside, as expected, the stuffy air smells of sandalwood, frankincense, and a dozen other aromas. The woman leads you behind the curtain and through the back door, onto a rickety staircase. A flight of steps takes you up to the second story. You instantly notice the change in decor, as the tacky New Age bookstore gives way to something resembling a cross between a library and a workshop. Yeah, this is more like it. The smell here is strong too, but much more layered. You're not sure what to make of it at first, but with each whiff, it becomes apparent. Blood. The aroma, though subtle at first, soon becomes overpowering. It takes you a moment to adapt and focus. I don't think you know who you're speaking with, so an introduction is in order. My name is Aisling Strubridge. Oh, holy crap. And I am the High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs. I'm so glad that they were able to keep characters from 3rd edition and put them into this one. Aisling was the primary Tremere character, like you'd see on the clan books and such. You are Xavier, correct? I have to say, you're lucky the ward outside the building is only there for notifications tonight. Otherwise, it would have been quite unpleasant. To answer your question, Agathon is here, but he's hard at work and I wouldn't want to disturb him. Am I to understand this is a social visit? Wait, how do you know who I am? Well, for one thing, knowing who's who in this city is one of my duties as High Regent. But more importantly, you've been on the mind of many a kindred since Langley took you in. It's quite a precedent, as I'm sure you know, a first under Prince Panhard, and for Sophie to be the one to do it. Curiouser and curiouser. Still, I'm sure you haven't come here to look for dirt on your sire. That would be unwise. Well, let's go ahead and do it. Sophie mentioned, expecting to find I've heard good things. Sophie suggested I should meet Agathon. She said he's quite knowledgeable. Did she now? Aisling looks you up and down. Her countenance seems unchanged, but you can tell she's judging what you said. That's new. Suddenly, a man enters from a side room. He doesn't even look at you, lost in his own thoughts. I have it, Aisling. I think I know how to find it. He catches himself as he notices you, and his face turns sour. A visitor? Yes, we were just discussing you, in fact. Is that so? Oh, man. Yeah, I kind of want to... I don't know how we... I guess introduction should be in order. Let me introduce myself. My name is Xavier. I've been told you might be interested in teaming up. Teaming up? He seems very confused by the notion. What for? I could assist you in your work. I can be quite helpful, knowing I can count on someone to return the favor. Is that right? He seems to consider it, then turns to Aisling. High Regent, may I ask your advice on this? She looks you over, as if judging your worth. It takes her just long enough to make you feel uncomfortable. When she takes her eyes off you, she addresses Agathon. Do you feel like you need assistance in your task, my child? I'm confident I can do it on my own. He pauses, hesitating for a second. But I do believe it is important enough to warrant outside help, even if only for a single night. Another brief moment of hesitation. Of course, the details would remain between you and I, sire. Agreed. On all points. Why don't you start by giving our intern here a brief explanation on what it is you're after? Agathon gives Aisling a hesitant look, but the woman nods approvingly. Encouraged, he turns towards you. A member of our clan disappeared without a trace a handful of nights ago. While the High Regent investigates if any foul play was involved, I've been tasked with recovering her research notes. If there's anything left to recover, that is. I may have an idea where to start looking, and I suppose this is where you come in. If you truly wish to help, I could use your assistance tonight. Right now, in fact. Given the time we've just wasted on idle chatter, I should leave immediately. And the missing kindred? Who is she? A single glance at Aisling is enough. You can tell you're not getting an answer, at least for now. We're after her research. That's what you should focus on. These people aren't in the habit of making things simple. Facing layers upon layers of secrecy, you can only hope that what lies beneath is the real deal. I'm heading out. Are you coming or not? Yeah, what could go wrong? Sure. I'll join you. Very well. It gives Aisling a slight bow. High Regent, with your permission? She nods. Before you go, however, Xavier, defer to Agathon in all things. Our clan values obedience above everything else. Prove you can follow, and this might turn into a mutually beneficial relationship. I will await his return, and his report. Good luck, my child. Agathon bows again and heads out, urging you to follow. The High Regent watches you leave. Outside, Agathon leads you to his car. It's almost funny seeing him get behind a wheel. Somehow you'd expect a more mystical means of transportation. You drive south. Oh, look at those eyes. Heading to the Lower East Side. Agathon seems lost in thought. Either that, or he's a very careful driver. Either way, several minutes pass in silence. Ooh, I don't know, he doesn't seem like the talkative type. Let's go ahead and at least ask where we're going. So, where are we going? Williamsburg. There's a place that our missing colleague, that our missing colleague frequented. He seems to be thinking of the right words before he decides to address you again. Let me ask you something. Why me? There's likely a couple hundred of us kindred in New York. Yet you seek me out specifically. Why? Well, for one, Sophie spoke highly of you. She gave me a short list of people to meet, and you were on it. I see. Once more, he grows silent. You're unsure whether to continue prying as your driver seems to disappear into his thoughts. You drive into Williamsburg and stop by a fancy-looking building. We're here. There's a restaurant on the top floor. You wanted to help, so here's your chance. I need you to get us inside the VIP lobby. Once we're in, I need about half an hour of focus and some space. It'll be up to you to keep attention away from the room. Can you do that? He doesn't wait for an answer and points to the front door. Go ahead. I'm right behind you. The two of you take the elevator up to the restaurant. The door opens, and you see that there are only a few guests left, sitting at their tables. An important-looking staff member approaches you. Good evening. I'm very sorry, but the restaurant is closing for the night. I can make a reservation for next week if you wish. Oh. Hey, we're not your regular customers. In fact, we're location scouting for a movie. We'll just take a quick look around and we're gone. No, I'm sorry. We're not interested in being featured in a movie. I'll have to ask you to look elsewhere. I'd suggest Smith and Wollonsky or the 21 Club. And this is why it's good to be a Toreador. Hey, it's all good. We can come in. We'll be in the VIP lobby. It won't take long. The man blinks, and a confused smile appears on his face. Yes, of course. Not a problem. Please, come right in. You walk in, trying to look casual, and make your way towards the VIP lobby. You step inside and close the door behind you. It's a nice place, very highbrow. Lots of old, expensive-looking furniture and private rooms to discuss any sordid business one discusses when you're that rich. Your companion looks at you with something akin to admiration. Or at least, that's how you choose to interpret the slight change in his usual somber facade. Not bad. Not bad at all. So, Tremere normally, at least in 3rd edition, they had Thaumaturgy, Dominate, and Auspex as their abilities, so I'm pretty sure he could go in with Dominate, but he may not have that. He may be focusing specifically in blood magic. He inspects the room. It's unusually cold, and Agathon soon discovers why. Looking behind the curtain, a window hangs open. The handle and lock look like they've been dissolved, as if with acid. God damn it, Juno. What happened to the window? Somebody broke in, and I think I know who. He takes a frantic look around the room. This changes things. Keep an eye on the door. I'll need some time. Half an hour at the very least. Nobody disturbs me. Understand? He hastily pushes a couch and some potted plants out of the way, moves a bar stool, and takes out a curved knife. Cutting into his own arm, he lets some of his blood drip onto the wooden floor. It's pretty fucked up, the way his flesh oozes the deep red, thick vitae. In life, you'd found its stomach churning, but right now you feel weirdly turned on by the sight. What follows is more disturbing yet. With one hand, he sheathes the knife and seals the wound. With the other, he smears the blood around him while muttering some weird chant. It sounds vaguely Latin, but you're pretty sure it isn't. It's all more than a little disconcerting, but he seems to know what he's doing. A few moments later, the circle starts glowing faintly as thin wisps of smoke surround Agathon. Now, one thing about blood magic that's been changed in 5th edition compared to previous editions is that it's just one discipline. There's no paths, like movement of the mind and lure of flames and all that, so Thaumaturgy got a little bit of a downgrade in power. But you get to choose a few powers going along the blood magic discipline, and the most fascinating thing about it is you get to choose between traditional Path of Blood powers and Quietus, which was the discipline of the Assamites, which is very ironic. But the real power in Thaumaturgy in 5th edition is in the rituals. Like, the rituals are supposed to be the thing that really make a Tremere stand out from the others. Is he doing Communicate with Kindred Sire? He sits down in the middle, legs crossed, eyes closed. Minutes pass, or maybe illuminate Trail of Prey. Agathon's face twitches from time to time, and his head turns every now and then, as if he was looking around or listening in on a conversation. Smoke grows thicker, forming a veil around the mage. You expect something more flashy, but it's still a sight to behold. You wonder what the point of it is, but refrain from asking. It's probably best to let Agathon do his thing. For close to 30 minutes, you're left to your own devices. Then suddenly, the door opens slightly and the manager leans into the room. You tense up for a second, but he just gives you an awkward smile. Anything you need? You shoo him away before he can take a closer look at your companion, and he retreats obediently. 2 minutes later, Agathon casually gets up off the floor and walks over to the sofa. He pushes his hand in between the cracks in the upholstery and fishes something out. He then turns to you and nods. We're done here. Let's go. You make your way back to the elevator, passing the manager on your way. He gives you a slight, somewhat confused smile, but neither him nor any of his staff get in your way. Despite that, the elevator ride down feels tense, and the two of you only relax once inside Agathon's car. He starts the engine and takes a right at the Continental Army Plaza, back onto the bridge. Elevator go down the hall. You're just about to say something, but he beats you to it. That went better than I expected, all things considered. It might have been a trick of the light, but you're pretty sure you just saw a smile. I'm used to working alone, but what I'm dealing with right now, it might require some more assistance, and you seem capable enough. Gee, thanks. I take it that's your way of showering me with praise? You could swear you just made him smirk. You did fine. Once you really impress me, I'll be sure to let you know. Enchanted to meet you. It doesn't take you long to reach the Warlock's hideout. Agathon waves at you absent-mindedly, once again lost in his thoughts. Hopelessly so. One of these nights, you should probably take him up on his offer. Who knows, if you gain his trust, maybe you can actually break through his stoic facade and meet the man underneath. Okay, cool. So we have the option of actually hitting the side quests now, I guess. I assume that these are the main quests and these are the sides. But I guess we will have to find out in the next episode, guys. So we were able to secure... we have made friends with the Malkavian, the Nosferatu, the Gangrel, and the Tremere. Now it's going to be all about, like, securing their help and forming this coterie. Like, we made good first impressions, but now we need to keep on performing as such. And then we have this, like, reporter. We've got our stalker, which is interesting. And Benoit and his whole thing about true faith. All kinds of different paths we can take. But I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.